How are you guys doing? I don't know if anyone's here yet, because I don't know. Actually didn't even... Okay, cool, the mic is working. I'm still not used to this mic, so I'm still not used to whether or not it works or not. I forgot to get my reference photo up, so I guess while we're waiting for people to pile in, I'll go ahead and do that. How are you guys doing? I say. Uh... So I started this one, I just wanted to paint it all yellow because I realized that I had the tendency to try and add yellow later, and it would make more sense. Don't tell me that's actually stuck on there. Oh, that's actually going to be yellow there too. Crud. Okay, well, there's the first problem we need to fix. Anyway, I figure it would be easier to add other colors on top of yellow rather than the other way around, and that just made more sense to me. So, I started another painting for this week's video, and it's hanging up behind me, and I'm just not confident in it. I don't feel like it represents what I want to represent, or like the quality of skill that I've got, and so I don't want to be like, oh yeah, sub to my Patreon, here's my crappy art, you know? I don't know. That's just me being an artist about things, I think. We're gonna go super simple with the color palette today. I don't know why I'm such a sucker for this color palette, the red, yellow, blue thing. It just looks right to me. Anyway, hi! There you guys are. How are you guys doing? Hopefully the camera doesn't try and drift off on its own. Hopefully the new mic is a better solution. It looks like we might need a lavalier mic for the wedding. So I could buy it for the wedding but use it as a business write-off? I don't know. But anyway. It's yellow, and we're done. Super experimental, just the color yellow. No, I'm kidding with you. I'm not Rothko, so I can't really pull that. At some point, and maybe I should have set this up for this stream, but at some point I would like to do a stream where I just mute the speaker audio on my end, and then just crank some jams that I want to listen to, so like some metal, or maybe a podcast or something that I want to listen to. And then that way you guys can just listen to whatever in addition to this. Like layer it. And then just turn down whatever other audio you want whenever I start talking. And just mix the audio yourself. You know what? You just do it yourself. Yeah. Anyway, let me go ahead and start the camera and then start the music. Actually, I should probably do it the other way around. Music's going to be the same Kevin MacLeod stuff because I forgot to go and download more, and I need to make sure I credit him because that's the one and only thing he asked for. Have I missed much? I literally just started the music, so we're that far into this stream. So you've missed 3 minutes and 6 seconds. What happened to your arm? This one? Herman? This one? Also Herman. Or do you just mean, like, why are they that hairy? Genetics, mostly. You don't wrap your canvases? Nah, I'm dumb. I keep stuff super simple. Let me see if I can just paint over, like, these random... It's like a hair pulled off on the, It looks like a hair just pulled off the brush. I'm just gonna hope that there's like I don't think you can even see that from y'all's position. I'm gonna hope that'd be a neat sort of throwback to Metal Tarot Monday. I should do a more regular schedule of this. I was just noticing that on so YouTube tells you if you have, there's an extension you can get for Chrome that I recommend if you decide to use, or do the YouTube thing, and it's called vidIQ. Super good at telling you all the random stats that you need to know that YouTube should just tell you. And I think the new dashboard is going to work in some of that stuff, but not enough of it, in my opinion. What is it called? So it tells me how many hours I need left until I have 4,000 on this channel. And it's about 400 hours. So if there's 100 people watching, then I need to stream for 4 hours. Give or take. Okay, anyway, let's actually get into the art. Yeah, Metal Terra Monday might be a way of, or doing it like that, where I have like the playlist of songs that I'm listening to set up, might be good. But I'm super basic, and I just keep listening to the same stuff over and over and over again. Because just once I find a good song, I'm like, yeah, that's good enough. I don't need to listen to any other song ever again. Like, there's stuff that I found, like, years and years ago. Like, I understand, like, old people who just listen to, like, old-timey jams now, because it's just like, you find one good song, you don't need another one. To some degree. I mean, doesn't mean that I don't go out and seek out new stuff, but, like, I'll listen to the same tracks over and over again. It was really one of your favorite things. I should probably go back to that project. So basically what we've got here is it's going to be a face, and it's like super zoomed in. I actually looked up mannequin faces. And this one was from a dental mannequin. And it was super creepy. And so we're cutting out the part of it that's kind of creepy on this one. Just because it didn't really fit in with what I wanted this piece to be. But I digress. Would you ever consider a Warhammer stream? People have asked me if I want to paint my orcs on stream. I could do that if you guys want. I definitely have some... I'm going to wait until after Christmas to buy anything, because the way Tilda has been acting and talking recently leads me to believe that's a possibility of a thing that she bought, and if not, that's fine. Honestly, it would kind of feel bad if she did, because it's like, that stuff's expensive, my dude. Some kind of regular, ongoing project. I mean, honestly, that makes sense. It would be nice to have, like, a series going with this channel, in general. Just like a, oh, well, this is the 8th painting in the whatever such and such series. I'll think of something. And just a regular, like, schedule to it, too. Like, Mondays. I think once the wedding's over in February, my schedule is going to become a lot more calm. Because then I should be able to quit my day job. I keep saying that as if that's happening. Did she get you some boys? I don't know. We're going very light on Christmas this year because we're doing the wedding. And my recommendation, if you're going to get married, A, marry someone you love. That's step one. Got that locked down. But B, you might want to just go with a courthouse wedding. Like, because even doing it the cheap way, like that we're doing it, we did the math, we did, you know, the cheapest, best option, and just so happened that it's kind of fancy, to the point where, like, they're treating us fancier than we are. And it's just like, kind of, I don't know. They had the chef come out. Let me just say that. They had the chef come out because we realized that if we do it at a park, it'll cost more. So we went with a location, and they have like an on-site chef, and it's just like, it's going to end up being cheaper because of a variety of different reasons. But we have like a chef for it. And he's been doing it for like 30 years, and he's amazing. We tried like some of the food, and we were like, holy crap. And he's like, you know, if you just want to change like a thing here or there with this, don't worry about it. I got it, you know? And just like, if you were to stereotype what a chef looks like, fit this dude to a T, you know? French, had an accent, had a stupid hat, whole 9 yards, right? There's just fiddly things that make it cost money. And on top of that, it's just like, it's dealing with this stuff. Like, we agreed no flowers because we're just like, we're not dealing with that. Get out of here. I don't care if they're flowers. You know? I guess we need to get like a bouquet. That's like a thing, right? You throw one of those. She will, I guess. So anyway, there's a lot of little hidden costs here and there, and maybe that's why they're treating us as fancy as we are, but, you know, once that's all paid for, then I can quit my day job, I think. I'll have to double check the math, and we'll see how things are going in, is he a large man? Nah. He wasn't overweight or anything. He was like my build. But he clearly loved food a lot. Like, he said little things here and there that it's like, that's clearly a saying amongst, like, you know, chefs. Like, the food is first eaten with the mouth, I think he said. And I'm like, I mean, true, I guess. Like, if the stuff looks gross, you're not going to eat it. And the more beautiful it looks, the better it tastes. So it's presented immaculately. But it's still, I don't know. It's cheaper because basically they're going to lump in the cost of the food with the rental of the space as long as we don't go over our maximum on the food. And then we just pay whatever over we go. But the reason that works for us is because we're both introverts. And by being an introvert, we have no friends. And because we have no friends, we're not going to order enough food in order to max out the bill. So it works out in our favor. But I think they're expecting a much larger party, because they were talking about, like, oh, well, we've had, you know, celebrations of 200, 300, 400 people, and we're, like, barely struggling to get, like, 50 in. There was no agreement on how many people we would bring, just that we would bring people. The space is, I think, too small for 200, 300, 400 people. I think that would be a madhouse. I think it's maybe too small for, you know, 50 people. But, it's understandable but pretentious, but this dude sold that, he said that, you know? Like, he sold that idea. Like, he said it with such confidence that I'm like, you know what you're talking about, don't you? And then we ate his food, and it was just like, holy crap, dude. Speaking of holy crap, let me turn this down just ever so slightly. And I'm just like, dude, this guy's great. I've only eaten at a fancy restaurant once. But this dude definitely is like fancy restaurant tier. Well, twice. Once was when I was a kid, and I remember looking at the menu and looking at my mom, and she was like, "It's okay. We're at an outing." And I'm like, "What? This is like 800 times more than I get paid in allowance. What is this? What? Adults have this kind of money?" And the other time was Screenwave, the company that I use for YouTube. For every channel except for this one. Just because this channel, I don't know, it's not big enough to really need it. And I don't know if they have any benefits that would benefit this channel. But anyway. Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of what we're running into, Natalie. So, it works out. It works out very much in our favor. But anyway, so it should be good. Should be very good, and it should be a nice service. We got the music on lockdown. So my dad and my brother both play music, and my dad he kind of does that for a living, for the most part, is playing at, you know, different locations that are very, like, fancy and upscale. Playing guitar, Beatles, Sinatra, singer-songwriter kind of stuff. He's very good. That's my point anyway. So it's like, and he does weddings every now and then, so it's like, okay, this won't be his first rodeo. He can play a few songs, and I just want it to be like here's a collection of all my friends meeting all of the random people that I've ever met in my life that I like enough to invite to my wedding. And I want to just see how they interact with each other, because I think people see me as, like, fairly one or two dimensional when they meet me IRL. sometimes, just because you aren't really, I don't really invite everyone into every aspect of my life. Like how my boss doesn't really know much about my art or streaming or really anything I do outside of work. This line is a little bit chunky, and I'm not too happy about that. Am I recording? The constant question. It's like I need to get this line super clean. It would make me happy too. Give me one moment to focus. But so my dad and my brother will both play. They both agreed to it, so we don't have to pay for a musician. And I feel like that's more special than having like a DJ come in and play stuff, because it's like, I don't know that dude, you know? I don't know my dad and my brother, and they'll play good stuff, and then we can all kind of celebrate that way. You know, it's meant to be a celebration of that, of, you know, us getting married. The idea that we want to spend our lives together, and like, here are some random people who are in my life, and some people that are in Tilda's life, that, you know, we decided to share this with. And so, I don't know. Yeah. And then someone just said thick in chat for some reason. Yeah, Herman shredded me up pretty good. I apologize for the bandages and all that. He has taken to... So I'm a righty. Hence why I'm painting with my right hand. So when I go to pick him up, I try and pick him up with my right hand. And he claws at me or bites me when he doesn't want to be picked up. And he's in a bad habit of that, and I'm not a fan of it. He's out running around somewhere right now. Oh, no, he's hanging out on his Christmas tree. Or the cat tree. The Catmas tree. Because we can't have an actual Christmas tree this year because he'll climb it. And it's got a little, like, crow's nest where he can kind of just sit, and it's his favorite spot now. Tilda insisted that that's the reason that he's climbing the kitchen counter and stuff like that. I think it's just so he can get food, but... you know what? He's been climbing on my desk a little bit less since we got it for him, so... Maybe there's some credence to that. I don't know. Am I bleeding that bad? Where am I cut? Oh, yeah, there's a couple cuts there. I'd like look at it under the camera just to see what you guys were talking about rather than looking at my own arm. I'm an idiot. Yeah. Hopefully it's not too gross. So I'm going to get some red and do the rest of the detail work. So we'll probably just put the presents under the tree. I went out and got the last of the stuff. Like, even though we're doing like a kind of scaled down Christmas this year, I still wanted to do like nice stuff for Tilda, you know? Because we're getting married, so it's like, I mean, like, this year is not going to be as good as last year. Last year, I proposed. So, like, that kind of trumps anything and everything that I could think of as far as gifts. So that's kind of made gift giving this year a little bit harder. I was stupid enough to be like, hey, if I propose on Christmas, we can just get married a month later, or 2 months later in February, you know? And then it's like, oh, actually, no, that's not reasonable at all. Do not try and get married in 2 months. We're unsure if we have enough time to settle everything and figure everything out right now with, you know, a whole year's worth of work up to this point. 2 months would have probably killed us. Yeah, so I mean, like, our wedding's like super simple. Like the stuff that we're doing. It's like, I'd rather like show off, like, here's my weird friends, here's my beautiful wife, enjoy. And if you don't, then, well, get out of my life. if you care about what color the napkins are, if you care that we went with the most basic color combination, because we don't have a color, like is popular apparently in all these magazines that tell you how to do marriages, but it will also sell you on a thing that you could buy for your marriage. We just went with black and white. It's like, you know what? Those are the colors I wear. And because that's the color of a wedding, you know? We're really stereotypical. The thing that makes our wedding special is that it's us and not someone else. And that's the way we're looking at it. And that has saved us considerable amount of money. Thousands of dollars, probably. And just peace of mind, which is a lot more valuable. Alright. So, okay. So then we got, ooh, okay. So this actually needs to be, and then if I got time, I would like to stream some Nuzlocke today. We'll see what time it is by the time I get done with this. Or at least once I run out of camera, footage room, or battery. Whichever comes first, I'm not sure. Is that significantly enough of a different color that if you're looking at it, you'd be able to see that? Not really. It's fairly subtle. Let me put it a little bit up here because it does actually need to go up here. And yeah, that's like almost unnoticeable. Okay. Like there's a color change there. It's different. So I think that's the reason I'm feeling so, like, I don't know, concerned about what I'm getting for Christmas for Tilda. Just because I can't really pull that off. And Tilda's very sweet. She was like, because I was telling her, I'm like, listen, I can't think of anything, you know? Like, you don't need anything for crafting. You don't need anything for this thing you like to do, or, you know, like, she likes to read mango, or manga. Call it mangoes. Slightly annoys her, but she gets that it's a joke. But like, you know, she likes One Piece, but it's also like buying all of One Piece is a stupid idea. Like, holy crap, that thing's been going on forever. Like, we don't have enough book room. Like, our bookshelves are not big enough to carry all that. So she likes that series, but she'll just read it other ways, you know? So, I can't really get her that, and I don't know. I missed the beginning of the painting. What are you painting? It's like a zoomed in look at a dude's face in, like, these colors. So the blue is like the background, and the red is going to be like shadows for his face. And the red is going to take up a majority of this. It's just the yellow was easier to paint on, because I can easier paint red on top of yellow than the other way around. Is that high enough up? It certainly does not feel high enough up. So, my recommendation, if you decide to do the whole marriage thing, which I know some people are against the idea of marriage, I get that, but simultaneously, like, if you meet the right person, do it. Otherwise, don't. Then it's dumb. Don't just do it to check off, like, I got married, did a thing, you know? Like, instead, get married if you like them enough to spend the rest of your life with them, you know? For some people, that doesn't work. And for those people, I say, that's fine. But anyway, Tilda was being very sweet because I was like, listen, I don't know what to get you, honey. And so she, a couple minutes later, was like, well, there's this one website that my sister was showing me, and the stuff's cool. Because she knows that I'll feel like crap if I don't buy her something. And she's like, she tried to convince me out of it. She's like, you don't have to get me anything. You don't have to get me anything. I'm like, no. I gotta get something. So, I got her some stuff. I don't know how often she watches these videos or if at all. So on the off chance that she does, I'm not going to tell you what I got her, but I went and got her some stuff today, and I'm like, okay, now collectively all of this is good enough, you know? Like, that's what I was looking for. It's just like the critical mass of enough stuff. It doesn't have to be like expensive stuff, it's just like the right kind of stuff, you know? I'm gonna likely sketch in where this nose is because it's bothering me that I don't know where it is. And we could still go over like the red with white and then back to yellow again, but it's so frustrating to do that I'd rather not. So rather than do that, I'm just gonna avoid doing that as much as possible. Okay. And then we got like right here there's going to be, I think that needs to go down more. Yeah, I think that definitely needs to go down more. I should have sketched in this first, because this gives me some sort of like room of place and where everything's supposed to be. It occurs to me, I just did the recording for this week's Artcade video, because I did the recording for the audio first, then I'm painting now, which is weird because normally I talk about the piece a bit, but as I was recording it, I'm like, wait a minute, doing this every other week thing, this means that this is the last video for Artcade for this year. This is the first year of its existence. Well, you know, it's been around for a year now. It started in like, I want to say like October or November of last year. So it's been around for a little bit longer than a year, but you know, close enough. I didn't really get the ball rolling on it for a couple months, as far as like a consistent work schedule and stuff like that. Let's see. So I may just want to like cover this whole thing in red. But yeah, I don't know. This week's video is a doozy, I'll tell you that much. Recording the audio took a while just because I wanted to make sure I got it right. So hopefully you like it. I know some people won't, and I'm just kind of taking a risk on it, but you can't do the safe bet every time, right? I've been really enjoying that Nuzlocke run that I've been doing. It's surprisingly more popular than I would expect. I sort of expected that like it wouldn't be very, just because it's like a whole lot of grinding. But I don't know, I'm able to keep the conversation going well enough that people are like, yes, I would like to hear you talk about random garbage for 2 hours and make next to no progress. I guess I shouldn't point that out, because then people are like, wait a minute, he didn't make any progress. Later, Medi. But I digress. Yeah, that's way too high up. There's definitely red here, and then it goes like this. I don't know, as much as I try and move away from these colors, I keep coming back to them. I don't know why. The blue I was going to switch out, and I used on the other painting, is like more of an ultramarine blue. And it's this one right here. Looks purple on the little thing, but it just comes out as like kind of chunky. Same with like this one, but I think this one's just dried out, so it's probably just... But that sucks, because heavy body Liquitex paint is much more expensive than regular. So I guess what I could do is I could just paint yellow over the red, and it's just going to tint it rather than actually cover it, because the red is a very yellow. Yellow and white are very thin colors. People love the Minecraft streams too. That's true. I think once Smash Brother dies down a bit, then Mike will be free again, and I hopefully will be free. I keep having to work on Mondays, which sucks. But I worked Sunday, and I'm gonna have to work Saturday. So hopefully that means everything will be fine for maybe next week. We'll see what the schedule is on Saturday. I'm not going to go into work on a day that I don't have to. They tried to call me in today. We have like a group chat that we have to be in for fun. But it usually is just like, hey guys, I need someone to cover my shift. Or where is this? Or why is this here? Who put this here? It's just like, this is an HR disaster waiting to happen. But whatever. So they were trying to call me in today, and I was like, nah, I got stuff to do. It's really weird because these headphones have like a they're noise canceling, but they also have like a thing where it loops the audio back in on myself, and so I can hear myself the way it'd be recorded, and it's super weird to hear myself like that. Okay, how's that looking? It looks like incomprehensible garbage right now. Good. That's how paintings start. I think that's about right. It's a little bit to the side. This actually needs to be more like orangey here, so you can kind of just cover up that I screwed up there. Group work chat. Yeah, group work chats are they're illegal, but if you want to keep your job, you keep it, you know? Because that's the real trick, is it doesn't matter if it's BS or not. You gotta keep it just for the sake of should probably add more yellow to that, so that way it pops out a little bit different. And then move this around like that. Yeah, let's add a little bit of yellow to that orange mixture, because it's like fairly close, and to the point where it's like not enough different that you can tell from a distance. There we go. That's a bit more orangey. And probably is going to show up the same for now, but I'll be able to tell, at least from here, which one is which, and then I can fix it, hopefully in a minute. Little ladies beefing with each other. Yeah, it's a work combo in a nutshell. I mean, that's what it is for me right now. It's not little ladies beefing with each other, but it's just people getting mad that someone didn't show up for work. It's like, why even take a seasonal position, man, at a job? I mean, I know it sucks, but that's your job. Show up for work. Do your job. You know? It sucks. That's why it's work, to some degree. I mean, I guess work doesn't have to suck, but that place it definitely does. But that being said, it doesn't have to, I guess. I mean, I'm just kind of making excuses for them so that way they'll actually show up for work. But at the end of the day, they need to show up to their job, because otherwise I have to do it. That's really where it is. It's that I don't want to do their job. I don't want to do my job. But hey now, what's up? You out of space again? Are you being a butt? Oh, okay, you just turned off for no reason. It's cool. Alright, I have a feeling that this eye is going to be a little bit off. So it's like a 7/8 turn or something like that with a slight tilt down. So that's off there. We'll see how much work I can get in before the paint needs to just dry for a bit. And then I might go stream and then come back to this and do another stream. Yeah. His cheek needs to be lower. His eye needs to be more pronounced. Still wet. Vaguely wet. Not like super wet. Alright. So if the eye is going to be there, let's just say it's there. We'll just add some white right there. It's going to mix weird, and it's going to be a weird blue, and then I'm going to hate my... Good. Just all of the paint that's left in the tube. Thanks. Alright, well, we got to fix it now. Hey Luigi, how you doing? Alright, so it's supposed to go like this, and then I'm just gonna kind of sketch out where that line needs to be. And then we'll paint over this again with white. I mean, yellow. Because the thing is that the blue is gonna be so dark that the yellow will show through it. Or the blue will show through if we don't paint over it. And if it shows through to white, that's fine, because I originally painted the yellow on a white canvas. So it should color match fairly accurately. It's a bit of a bluish white, so maybe not, but, you know, we'll see. Yeah. Let's get these structural problems out of the way first, and then we can move on. But, I mean, I think the need for, like, a project for this channel is a good idea. And I'm not totally sold on the whole, like, painting Warhammer stuff, just because, I don't know, it's more of a hobby, so I don't know if it really counts. I don't know. I have a weird thing where it's like, artists aren't allowed to have hobbies, I guess. I don't really know what that is. Or it just feels cheaper to me. Like, I'm not going for a golden paintbrush or a golden demon. For those of you that don't do Warhammer stuff, there are competitions on who can paint the best models. And there are people who make their job of it. They do, like, super awesome paintings of, like, the stuff. They'll paint the figures so that way they look beautiful. They look real, you know. I have learned that I can't do that. It's a different skill set than painting a canvas, because it's a three-dimensional thing, and three-dimensional art has never been my skill set. It's never been something that I really have invested much time or energy into getting good at. And so now, when it's like sort of required for me to, like, I don't know, feel better about it, it's like, oh. And so a lot of the tutorial videos and stuff that I've watched and listened to are basically telling me the information that I already know about color theory and stuff like that, but it's just like how to apply that into three-dimensional space. It's interesting. It's super interesting. And it's like, oh yeah, I guess that's exactly the same way in everything, isn't it? But just like apply it to this, like you have to worry about that third dimension. So suffice to say, I'm really garbage at it right now, but like good enough. I mean, that's really what it comes down to, is because I'm not trying to get Golden Demon, and I'm not trying to, like, be someone who professionally paints Warhammer miniatures. I just want a halfway decent looking army. I kind of don't care, you know, to be honest. And it's just sort of like a little thing. I'm not really sure how I would actually film that either, is the other deal. I've seen videos where they, you know, obviously I look up tutorials on how to paint my figures super nice and clean so that way they look good. And And I've seen the camera angles they use. I don't think they're practical with the workspace I've got. This is really not the best workspace for this either, but, you know, here we are. It's the one I got, so I got to work with it. Works fine enough for painting figures, just as long as I'm not trying to film it as well. But just trying to get a camera close enough that you could see it and not have to look at my like cut up hands and fingers and all that would be a bit difficult. So that's a long drawn out no. Is this still wet? Yeah, very much so. Okay. Okay. Oh, I should mention, Yakuza and Tabletop Sim are both on sale right now. Yakuza is on sale through chrono.gg/RevScarecrow. They pay me if you buy it through there, but it's Yakuza 0. I've been streaming it for a while now. It was put on the back burner for a bit, and then I brought it back, and now it's on sale again on Chronog, so you could get it if you want it. It's a good game. It's a solid game. It doesn't take itself too seriously, and it's good. Tabletop Sim, I think, is one of the best value games on Steam right now. That's just part of the Steam Winter Sale, so it has nothing to do with me. Like, I don't get paid to tell you it's good. But it's definitely not the place that I usually play Warhammer, and it's definitely not the place that you could play Warhammer for thousands of dollars less than buying from GW. And so I would not, nor would I ever implicate that I would use such a service to do that, and definitely have not streamed myself doing that, and have taken down the video to avoid any sort of issues like that. I've never done anything like that, so it's fine. But you could get Tabletop Sim, you know, if you wanted to try out some board games. Legally, of course. But yeah, it's a good game. I have like 300, 400 hours in it. I think in comparison, I have about 100 in My Summer Car, stuff like that. So it's good. We did the D&D streams with it, and it's like $10 right now, and it's, I don't know, that and like Gary's Mod are probably some of like the most robust ways to like play games, especially now that like Counter-Strike is free. You could just like play Trouble in Terrorist Town or Murder or something like that and it not be like expensive at all. I think those are like two of the best buys on Steam right now. I like Yakuza. I don't think it's for everyone, of course, but I think it's a, you know, if I'm recommending, like, you know, you got $10 to your name and you want to spend it on video games, you have problems, and Tabletop Sim is a good choice. I'll go back through with some blue in order to fix that up a bit. I'm getting impatient is the problem. What am I painting? It will work out into a face here in a minute. It's very close. Here's his nose. There's one of his eyes. It's not noticeable yet because I'm not that far along in it, but it'll work out in a minute. I should have had like guidelines or drawing where everything needed to go or something in order to get this right. Value Town is it's a just card game term for like, you have a good, you know, card that, you know, it does the work of 3 or 4 cards, but it's only one card, you know, or it just is a good card. It provides good value to your deck. Yeah, I think next time we do this, we might want to set up with the musicless version, and you just go and get your own music, and then that way, you listen to whatever music, and you can pretend like I'm listening to it too. I'm a little worried about the copyright implications of that, where I'm just telling you to go and, like, I don't know, essentially pirate music off YouTube, but, like, you know, most of the time these artists have it so that way they're getting a cut from YouTube when they do that. So, but even still, if it was just like I'm listening to music and you pick your own music as well, or if I didn't provide the playlist, you guys just had to go track down the songs yourself, and it's just like, here's the song I'm listening to, you go listen to whatever you want. The mouth looks a little melted. It's like, frig, what's that called? Right under your nose, there's a little bit of cleavage between your, like, nose and this side of your face and this side of your face. There's like a line there. It's like what the halfway mark between a mustache, basically, right? And that's kind of what this area is. I screwed up the scale on some of this, so I'm kind of like trying to fix it as I go. We'll see if I can. I think this white paint is still wet, so it's like wet on wet mixing, but you can't actually hear the music currently. Huh. It's very quiet. Is that better? That pops really freaking well on y'all's screen. The painting looks good. Looks better on y'all's screen more often than not than it does mine, but I think it's a camera angle thing. They tell you when you're doing art, and by they I mean like the teachers that I had when I was in school, that every now and then you need to like get up and move around and like stretch and walk away from the piece, and then that way you get less, like, I don't know, you get more and more and more and more detail oriented the longer you work at a piece. And sometimes you're not at that stage yet, and I think right now I'm not at that stage. I need to be on the, I need to, like, you know, clean up some of these lines, get the base form down stage right now. But it also allows you to like step back and go, oh yeah, that's actually going really well. Cleavage. Humming to myself, but not the song we're listening to. Gwar has been the thing this year. I'd say they're like my band of the year this year. It's not like, I think their latest album was last year, I want to say. It was good. It's a banger. Every single song on it, absolutely amazing. But they've definitely been the album of choice. I think it's like War on the Gods or something like that. I'm listening to it on their official YouTube channel. And it has like ads like on it, like for the video. It's just like, go buy it today. And I'm like, yeah, I'll go and buy it once there's a place that carries it. None of the record stores in town carry it. I guess I gotta like send away for it or something, like go on Amazon or whatever. But it's a really solid album. Maybe not their best album ever, but really good stuff. Viking Death Machine, just totally not this vibe right now. El Presidente, I'll Be Your Monster. Those three songs in particular have been on constant loop. I'm trying to think of any of the other ones that are on that album. The music video for Viking Death Machine is pretty amazing. It's very jank. It's like they stole animation loops from like a pup named Scooby-Doo at one point. And it's just like, wow, someone actually remembered that. And there's some clear references to like Fury Road and obviously a pup named Scooby-Doo for whatever reason. And What was the other one? Oh, Wacky Racers. It's good. It's a good song, and it's a good music video. And as far as Gwar is concerned, the music video does matter. You don't just listen to a Gwar song, you go and watch the music video, and you're like, yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Super cool. And it's weird, but whatever. You know, it's Gwar. You still wet? Yep, you're still wet. Okay. Alright, so how does this look? And what do I need to fix that I can fix right now? Because a lot of this is wet. And that's kind of the problem right now. I think this needs to come down. And that should be something I can do right now. Just tapped in, but the way that he was holding his hand made it look like he was bare-chested and darting. I mean, you know, just boobs out. Do some art. I don't know. It's not against the rules on YouTube, right? Male presenting nipples. I feel like it meets the aesthetic though of Gwar. Like it is horribly animated. I showed it to Tilda and she was like, I didn't realize that they were lip syncing for the first little bit. And it's like, yeah, they had like 2 animations for him singing, and so it doesn't really match up. But you know what? It's got the spirit, right? And it's funny. It's got some like little like jabs and jokes at random stuff in there that like knowing the reference makes it funnier. And anything that allows me to have a little bit more of like Mad Max Fury Road, I am 1000% okay with, because that was an amazing movie. I loved that movie so much. I've only seen it once, but it was like, wow, yeah, that's an aesthetic and a half. People were mad about it because, I don't know, Max didn't do that much, but it's just like, but he didn't in the other ones. He kind of just was there and didn't die, and then he left, and we were experiencing the world through his eyes, you know, blank slate and all that. Did you start this tonight? I started it today, and I just painted the whole thing yellow, and then I started the stream, because that way I'd have to like paint less yellow later, and it would be like less difficult, because I think that's something I've been doing stupid recently when I've been doing these paintings that have this color palette, is I've been trying to paint it yellow after I get all the other colors in, and it's like, literally just stop being dumb. Just stop being dumb. Make the world easier. Oh, you can super hear me scratch my beard. That's weird. That's really weird. I'm not a fan of that. Okay. I probably shouldn't have done that, because now I can't paint that area right now. Hopefully that was dry enough that it didn't really impart any paint. Are you dry? No, you're not. Okay. I'd like to at least get the other stuff marked in so people, when they walk in, can go, oh! It just would make me feel good. And it's nice when it gets to that point. I realize that I like to fiddle around with details, trying to get it to work, rather than progressing with the painting. Sometimes what needs to happen in order for it to look right is for some of the details that are in areas that aren't in the part you're looking at to be added in. So I'm going to hope that this works out and the paint's not too wet over here, so I can just like sculpt in some marks real quick, and then we can go back to fixing some other stuff and come back to it. How was Hive Swap? It's alright. I recorded the last of it today. I accidentally did the epilogue before I did all of it. And so the last episode will be coming out, I forget what day, but sometime soon here. And it was one that a lot of people warned me about, and I assumed it was going to be a lot worse than it was. I guess if you have certain sensibilities, it will be offensive. The character in it is a total tool, and I thought it was going to be like much worse than it was, like I said, but it was like relatively tame in comparison to what I was like readying myself for, because people were acting like, oh my god, they just straight up show a dead kitten, you know, or something awful, you know. And it was uncomfortable. It was not like good, but it wasn't like, I don't know. I think it's a different situation for me, because me and my experiences in my age, like, I just don't get swayed by people saying stuff to me anymore. And so that means that, like, a lot of the coercion that the character is trying to use doesn't work. And so it's just like, no, it's good. But that's like because of my personality type. It didn't really let me skip chapters. It was like, do you want to understand? And it didn't really explain what it was. And so it kind of just brought me to the epilogue, which explains the whole concept of Friend Sim. And I'm like, oh, I wasn't ready for this, because I didn't play the other one. Because it doesn't know what order you play them in. As far as I can tell. I think there is a canon order for it, but I'm not sure what it is. So, anyway. If you get to the part where it gives you the, like, warning, and you're like, I don't know about this, skip it. You know? You don't really miss much. What you think is gonna happen happens, and I react in the way that you'd think I would. There you go. You didn't have to even watch the episode. So, I've been listening to more podcasts recently when I've been, like, painting by myself. Stuff that just didn't come to fruition, which is why you haven't seen the videos for it. But, anyway, and I guess I could take a picture of that and add it to my Patreon. Might as well. I want to add enough stuff to that Patreon wall right now. I feel bad about that, but I don't really sketch out stuff traditionally. I usually, like, Photoshop it together the way I want it, with all the details where I want them, with the color palette the way I like it, and then go from there. We're gonna have to come back a second pass with this, because it's muddying the red with a little bit of yellow, because there is yellow over there. That's okay. There's like yellow right there for some reason. I don't know why I added yellow there. I guess I was fixing the nose. Alright, is that right? No, it needs to be much lower than that. Okay, well, there is some, like, orange in there, so that's fine. In fact, this whole area is more or less orange. Alright, so it's like, it goes down quite a bit. It's like, I don't know why that reminded me, but it reminded me of this time that oh, and his eye is, like, way off. Like, it is way too far to the left. And this does not come over enough. I think that's the other thing. It needs to be like this. We are gonna screw this guy's face up. Something proper. Like, woof. What podcasts? Just random ones, just that we have stuff to talk about when I'm doing these streams, I guess I should say. I was listening to one that was talking about Robin Hood, of all things. It was one of those... It was a podcast that essentially went nowhere, in my opinion. As far as, interesting facts. Basically, they talked about, is Robin Hood real? And the answer was, sorta. He was sort of like a punk rock figure in that it was the first time in European history that, like, an outlaw was seen as a good guy because the king was corrupt. But, like, Robin Hood, Hood itself, that name, you know how, like, in Game of Thrones, they don't really have, like, last names for some of the people, like Jon Snow. Hood was, like, a equivalent of, like, bandit, you know? So it's not like there was a Robin Hood. There were several people who all kind of, historically, they all added it together, and now we have, like, this archetype of Robin Hood. But I just thought it was interesting. It never really occurred to me that, like, he could have been real, you know? Like, I always just assumed that he was made up in order to tell the story. He was like Sherlock Holmes or something, like, not an actual human being, but just sort of like a character in a story, you know? What one might call fiction. But it turns out there's, like, a little bit of basis to it. Not a lot, but a little bit. So there's that. I need to get back into Robot Congress. That's a good podcast, especially if you like, I don't know, video games. Because they talk about, like, legal stuff and video games. A lot of it having to do with, like, streaming and stuff like that, because that's just where the law interacts with it a lot. But every now and then it would be stuff like I'm sure, I bet you money they did an episode on the canvas bag situation. But they're super good. Ryan Morrison, and I forget what the other dude's name is. I would love to pick that dude's brain. I would love to have him on an episode or a thing for this channel to talk about copyright and trademark and why it's important and why you should do it and stuff like that. So it's like Santa Claus, sorta, yeah. Yeah, Robin Hood is sorta like Santa Claus. There's a general idea of who what he's supposed to act like and his behavior and where he lived. I mean, like, Sherwood Forest, like, is a real place, A, and B, if you lived there, you were a criminal. Not only because, like, you know, you did a crime, but, like, literally by being in that forest, it was a crime. So it's like, everyone who lived in Sherwood Forest was a criminal. And some of them were good, some of them were legit, some of them weren't, you know? Canvas bag situation. It's a, Bethesda said they were going to give canvas bags as part of the Fallout 76 thing. And very much didn't. I just realized I still have that Speed Wolf sticker up in the Judas Priest frame. Can you guys see that? Oh, you can't, I don't think, from this angle. Oh, that's good. Because I don't know as if YouTube would be fine with that joke. It's very much like a joke someone would go, oh hey, what if instead of Bark at the Moon, it was this? And then people were like, haha, that's good, that's funny, let's roll with that, let's call the album that. I don't know if they had an album called that. Classy stuff, as always, Speed Wolf. Denver 666, good song. Out on Bail, good old speed thrash metal, you know? Just gonna try and fix up some of these issues as I go. I would rather work additive rather than subtractive, I think, with yellow paint, but I've screwed it up, so that's not how the world works today. So I'll go ahead and just accept my fate and sketch it in with white, and then come back in and... Are you out of film? No, you just shut off again for no reason. Cool, thanks. I gave myself a permanent neck injury thanks to Speed Wolf. Yeah, it's one of those bands. It definitely is. I heard someone describe it as Motorhead on speed, and then someone pointed out that Motorhead was on speed. Motorhead just seems so calm now in comparison to stuff that's out there. They feel more rock than anything else. But they're still very much metal. They're grandfathers of metal in a lot of ways. Rest in peace, Lemmy. Maybe not a great human being in a lot of respects. He didn't know he had a kid, for one thing, so he wasn't a very good father. There's a story of him at a party doing... He's doing drugs, and then some kid runs in the room and he's like, "Hey, whose kid is this?" And then someone came up to him and said, "Oh, that's yours." So not winning Father a Year sort of awards, but his kid forgave him. So cool. And they got along all right. Like in the Lemmy documentary, he's talking to the kid, and he acts like a father. He says fatherly things to him, but it's just like, I don't know. It's really hard to console that part of him with that, you know what I mean? The Lemmy documentary I highly recommend because he was a very interesting guy. He was a weird dude. He lived in a rent-controlled apartment. Like, they couldn't raise the rent on him because of the way they signed the lease. And so he just didn't ever move out, despite, like... Why have you done this? Ah, card full. Huh. Well then. I feel like we barely got started on this one. How much time do we got? We got enough time for me to go and stream some Nuzlocke, so I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pack it in for now. I'll finish the rest of this off stream probably tonight or tomorrow. Let this battery charge, let the card refill or have some room. The other card is full with the other painting I did, and I haven't transferred it over yet, so we can't just go straight into me switching over the card, which is unfortunate because I was starting to get on a roll there, but, you know, stuff happens. And by stuff happens, I mean, like, I didn't prepare for this properly. But it does mean that I can do some Nuzlocke now, so... Sorry? Yeah. Because I can't think of another way to do it. So I'm gonna have to wait. That sucks. Anyway, I'm gonna go to the bathroom, then I'll go live on twitch.tv/RevScarecrow. And that'll be good. And that'll be a good time. So, you finished the second episode of Nuzlocke. We're on episode 4, this will be. So 3 is not out, it will be out tomorrow. And I got to the first gym. So... if you don't want to know how that went, you might have to wait. Thank you for watching. I barely made any progress, and it's still inconceivable. Like, I don't know if you guys can even tell what this is yet. It's like not... It's getting there. It's getting there. You can kind of see where it is, but I think I know where everything's supposed to be. So it looks okay. But it's still not there yet. Well, thank you, Android. Either way, thank you for showing up for the stream. Thank you for enjoying it. If you did, if you didn't, sorry. Let me know either way in the comments if you're watching this sometime in the future. And if you want to see the full thing at, you know, painted, like in real time like this, Patreon exists. That's like any tier. I think $1 is the minimum on Patreon on every website. So, anyway, I'll see you guys over on the other side. Bye!